Hi everyone, this is Hannah Carone from LuLaRoe Hannah Carone, and today we are going to be talking about picking a sponsor. So, let's talk about what a sponsor is first of all. Your sponsor is going to be the person that you are directly under in LuLaRoe. You cannot become a consultant without a sponsor. You don't have to choose one. If you don't choose a sponsor, one will be assigned to you, which isn't really that ideal because you should be able to find someone that you know you're going to work well with. You don't want to have a sponsor chosen for you that, maybe you guys don't really click, maybe you're not getting the things out of them that you feel you need to succeed, and, their purpose really is to help you succeed. So, I would definitely recommend shopping around for a sponsor before just going to, I just want to be a LuLaRoe consultant, they can assign me one. So let's talk about the sponsor's responsibilities. They have 5 main responsibilities when taking on someone under them. Those responsibilities include teaching you the LuLaRoe culture, knowing your goals, which is probably one of the most important things. Teaching you how to use Audrey. Audrey is not always the easiest to figure out if you're doing it on your own. She does a lot for you, but it takes some figuring out. Number 4 is keeping in contact. I would say that's number 2 for importance. You want a sponsor that is going to, I'd say, weekly keep in contact and see how you're doing with your sales, with booking pop-ups and that kind of thing, and just answering any questions that you have. And that brings us to troubleshooting. Their last responsibility is to help you troubleshoot anything that you have wrong or questions about in LuLaRoe. They're going to be the first person that if you have a question, you're going to ask. You're not going to contact home office 9 times out of 10 because your sponsor should have the answer. And if they don't have the answer, then they're going to reach up above them until they do have the answer. And if they're not going to do that, then they're probably not doing their job. So those are your 5 basic responsibilities for your sponsor, but I like to add a little extra one because I think it's super important that your sponsor should be your biggest advocate, your biggest cheerleader. Because if you're not succeeding, then they're not succeeding in their role as your sponsor. And, they should be fulfilling every single one of their responsibilities and helping you reach those goals and be successful. So I want to talk a little bit more about troubleshooting as a responsibility. I know a lot of people will look to start building their team when they're still in the queue, and on my team, that's kind of frowned upon from talking to other, other consultants that are on my team. And simply because if you're in the queue, then you don't really have the experience with selling LuLaRoe to be able to help other people. You need to have that experience to pull from first before you should have to reach up to someone else. Now, if you're in the queue and your QBs have questions about being in the queue, then you can probably help them. But I just personally would never have taken on anyone while I was still in the queue. I don't feel like I could have really helped anyone while I was in the queue. As I said, your sponsor should be able to pull from their own knowledge first before having to reach up. Now, enough of the responsibilities. Here are some things to consider when you are choosing a sponsor. The first is location. Do you care if your sponsor is in your area? In my experience, my sponsor is in my area. She lives half an hour away. And I have found that it's nice, but it's definitely not essential. Most of the things that she's been there for have been over the phone. That I haven't had the need to go to her to do a swap or anything quite yet. And I wouldn't have to do a swap with my sponsor. I could find other consultants that I know would be completely okay with doing a swap. Just because someone's not on your team does not mean they're not going to support you. So it hasn't been essential that I have my sponsor in my area. I could have been sponsored by someone in Alaska. I'm in Florida, so I could have been sponsored by someone in Alaska and still been had the access to her that I needed from a sponsor. All the other perks of having a sponsor nearby can be fulfilled by other consultants, really, by doing swaps and stuff. So the other thing to consider when choosing a sponsor is what resources they have for their team. On my team, we have multiple resources. We have some different groups set up that one is for people in the queue, one is for after you have onboarded. We also have a chat that has been so helpful. It's got, I think, 140 consultants in the chat, which sounds kind of overwhelming to have your phone dinging all the time, but it really doesn't too often. And if you don't want to hear it, you can put it on Do Not Disturb. But the reason that has been so helpful is because if there's a question that I need answered right away, since there's so many people that are right there, if my if my sponsor, since I know she has her own life, she has her full-time job on top of LuLaRoe. If I need an answer right now, I know I can go there, ask the question, and have an answer probably within a minute. So that's a resource that has been really wonderful. I know I have put together almost like a worksheet for people on my team of what it takes to become a consultant and what you need to do to be successful. Whether it's from the supplies that you're going to need, or, there's a 72-hour game plan, of course, which everyone knows, but also just kind of like a breakdown of step-by-step from your initially signing up to become a consultant to, you're having your launch. Because I know that was something that would have been really helpful for me to have, and I kind of had it, but it wasn't like I need to be able to look at something on a list and say, okay, this is what I need to do, this is when I need to do it, instead of just kind of verbally. So that's something that I have developed for my team, so that I can give that to them, and it kind of cuts down on a lot of the questions that that I know I had when I was in the queue about becoming a consultant, things I needed to do, from talking to my county about if I needed to get a business license and all that fun stuff. So so that's just another thing to consider when you're picking a sponsor. A sponsor is probably your most important choice when deciding to join LuLaRoe. It's an exciting experience, and I think it's really key to your success is to have a really good sponsor that you get along with, that are going to fulfill their responsibilities to you. So with that said, if you want to talk to me about being sponsored by me, or even just questions about maybe something I didn't cover with, what it takes to be a sponsor, or things that you should be considering when you're being sponsored, go ahead and send me an email. I also have my Facebook group listed in the description, along with my email address, that you can ask questions. I'm currently starting to build my team a little bit more, so if you want to talk to me about me sponsoring you, just let me know, and have a wonderful rest of your day.